How would you describe the way your run game has evolved in the last few weeks of the season, and how does that help this overall offense?
Well, I think we got a lot of good players that are capable of doing special things with the ball in their hands. I think we've just found different and unique ways to do that. And you've seen, regardless of how we win or whatever goes into it, we've been able to do whatever we do effectively.
How much does a run game success help the overall offense's success?
Yeah, it's complementary football. You talk about a running game, passing game, defense, special teams, all of it complements one another. So just going out there and being able to execute all things and be efficient in everything that we do, it's helpful.
How would you describe what it's like to be in a Lincoln Riley offense?
I don't know. I mean, just playing football. I played in a number of different offenses. I think Coach Riley is great at what he does, and you know, it's a great opportunity for players to make plays.
I mean, is there I guess each offense has its own personality. What would be the personality of his offenses, your offense?
It's hard to say. It's also different. It's different from what I've been used to in the past. So I think the biggest thing for me is trying to overcome those challenges and adjust to those changes, I'd say.
How much will your experience playing in playoff games, big moment games, help you moving forward now?
Well, I'll let y'all decide that. In all reality, I said this when I first came to Oklahoma. Not a game that I won at Alabama, not a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, not anything I did at the University of Alabama is going to help us win games, help me win games at Oklahoma. So it's a new chapter, and we'll treat it as such. I will.
Jalen, you don't buy there's a certain something that comes with experiencing those moments or being in those situations that can help you down the road?
I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm saying it's not something that I'm just going to talk about, because y'all will talk about it enough.
Fair enough. Talk to me a little bit about after that Kansas State game. What prompted you to stand up and address the team?
Well, you know, you got goals. You go into a place like me in my situation, you have goals. You have limited time to accomplish those goals, and you definitely don't want to waste a day or waste a breath. And a fairy tale season for us, we would have gone undefeated and been in the situation we're in right now. Well, it didn't happen that way, and usually when adversity hits, it's all about how you respond. I mean, as a leader, I feel like it was my obligation to make a point on that runway as soon as we got off the plane, and let it be known that it's about how you respond to things like this and how do you want to be remembered. And I think it was a pivotal point in our season. I think it helped a lot, and it showed some maturity, forced some to mature, and allowed us to take another step as a team, as we've tried to every week since then.
Jalen, can you just put us in the moment? You play the game, there's a loss, locker room, then what? You guys got in the plane, flew back here, and that's when you talked to the team?
Yeah, I believe we flew into OKC, and as soon as we got off the plane, I told Coach Riley, I told some of the leaders on the team, I said, hey, we're going to meet as soon as we get off the plane, and don't let anybody get on the bus. And we talked. I wore my heart on my shoulders and talked to him genuinely. I kept it real. And we're here now.
You did it in the waiting area of the terminal, or was it a private room? Was it? I'm just trying to get a sense of where
we
this
did it
happened. Literally
as you walk off a plane. As soon as we got off the plane, we had a meeting, huddled up. Obviously, probably like 70 guys, a group of 70 people talking on this big tarmac. So I didn't want to waste any time with it.
So why did you feel it was important that you be the guy that stand up in front of them and say those things?
If I didn't, who else would? Like I said, I didn't come here for anything. I answered this question all week in New York. I didn't come here to win any individual award, do anything like that. I wanted to do something special as a team with these guys. And knowing that we had an opportunity to do that, and we still do, that's why I express myself the way I do to my teammates, because it's about the team, it's about what we do for each other.
That day, Jalen, when you were looking into the eyes of your teammates as you're saying those words, what were you seeing in their faces?
Starvation, a hunger, kind of a pissed off for greatness type of approach, wanting excellence, and I think one thing I've tried to do with my teammates as of lately especially is demand excellence out of everyone, and being consistent, having the right focus in whatever it is we're doing, just doing it and taking the right approach and having the right intent we want to have as a team.
If I asked you before K-State and then after K-State, the difference in the attitude, demeanor of this team, what did you see as a difference?
I don't want to make this kind of like this was it was a pivotal point in our season, but I think we had the opportunity to learn from a lesson like that, and it propelled us forward.
Well, some of your teammates have said it was a turning point to them because they realized, this is it. We can't lose again.
Yeah, I think I think a little different sometimes in those standpoints, but I think it helped us. And at the end of the day, you don't lose, you learn. And I think we learned from it.
What do you think was the number one lesson that was learned?
You got to appreciate every opportunity you have to play the game. And you have to have the right focus every time you touch the field to do your job to your best ability, give complete maximum effort for your teammates. And that's really what it was. I think coming into the last half of the season or however many games we had left, we had a true significant increase in focus on those things, and I think it's helped us.
When they write the history of this season, and I know there's still games to be written, do you think that post-K-State experience versus, say, the comeback against Baylor, in a way, does that have more meaning, do you think?
To each their own. You talk about learning from an experience like that against K-State, then showing that we've overcome a lot as a team this season. I think it all plays a significant role, and they all play on each other in terms of how we are defined as a team and how we define ourselves and what we do.
That was another step.
Yeah. I mean, every game matters. Each one, there was a lesson in each game, and it's all taught us a lot.
I want to ask you a little bit about the transfer situation. What was your individual process when you went through the reasons to make that decision?
Yeah, I don't know much. I don't really have much to say about that. I should probably. We're on camera right now, but I don't really want to talk about my transfer situation.
Okay.
I'd rather not be. That's a story I'll tell later on in life.
Okay. Can I ask you in a general sense, if a player came to you and said, "Look, you've been through it. What advice could you give me as I'm making my own decision?" What would you tell them?
Well, when you talk about, I will say this about my situation. It's unprecedented. All of it's been unprecedented. The different aspects of what I did and what I went through and how I handled it will probably never happen again in college football. From the standpoint of having the success I had at that high of a level and kind of being in the situation I was and kind of coming out the way I did, that's nothing you script. That's nothing it's unprecedented.
Right.
I just think it's hard for me to compare to somebody else's situation. I can definitely give advice to someone for sure, but as far as comparisons to anybody else that's a transfer out there or whatever, the resumes are completely different.
Right, your own individual situation, the circumstances involving that. But just from a general standpoint, is there something that you can tell these folks that might help them through it?
I just tell them to see it through, you gotta be smart about it, and you gotta have faith in what you're doing and trust yourself. And you gotta do what's best for you and your family, but you also have to be ethical in everything that you do and do what's right.
Do you like the system as it is now? That ability to make that transfer if you're a grad?
Well, at the end of the day, your grad transfer stuff is not something that's new. The whole new thing to me is the 4-game redshirt stuff and the entire portal where basically you can put yourself in this online catalog and see who wants you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the big difference right there.
That's more important than the grad transfer situation, you know, to have the portal situation now for you.
Well, yeah, in reality, I think there's always been a waiver, right?
Yeah.
So all of these things have always been in college football. It's
Mm-hmm.
just we get this portal, and now people think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And it's about how you handle your business, how you approach it, and how you go about it.
One of the things that we talked about with Lincoln several weeks ago, he said that you were underappreciated and that college football will miss you when you're gone. Do you understand where he's coming from on that?
I can feel what he's saying.
Do you feel underappreciated?
I can't sit here and say I feel underappreciated. I'm blessed to be where I'm at. And I have great people around me. I have a great supporting cast. I'm a blessed individual. Talk about, that's not something you can ask me. You got to ask Coach. You got to take his word on it. I can't sit here and just batter myself and pat myself on the back.
I think he was coming from a place of he wanted to make sure you got your fair due.
Well, I think he's basically talking about what I've been talking about all year, the unprecedented situation I'm in. And that's what it is. Appreciating that this don't happen too often and guys like this don't come through.
How would you describe sort of your career arc in college football?
As far as what?
From the start to where you are now, all the things that you've sort of gone through to get to this point.
Unprecedented. Same word. Unprecedented. Nothing that nobody can relate to.
How did you get through it? Because there's no roadmap for that.
Being me, having trust in God, trusting in myself, and trusting that at the end of the day my opportunity would come at the right time when it was supposed to come. Everything's unfolded the way it has, and now I'm in the playoffs again, about to have an opportunity to play for a national championship.
There's still things that can be done. You still have games to play. But when you put your head on the pillow, are there a couple games, moments, memories that will always stick with you?
Yeah, I think my first national championship playing in, I think that one will always stick with me.
Anything else?
That's the one.
That's the one. What would the older Jalen Hurts tell the true freshman Jalen Hurts? No advice?
I think the older one's wiser, more experienced. Been through a couple things here and there.
A couple things?
Yeah.
Been through a bunch of things,
just
haven't
a little
you?
bit. I think in our reality, I think if younger Jalen Hurts would have experienced the things that I experienced, the older Jalen Hurts would have experienced, I think it all would have been handled the same. Because I have the same values I've always had, the same morals I always had. Those have never changed. So
You'd evolved the same way then?
Yeah. The younger Jalen Hurts and the older Jalen Hurts, regardless of experiences, trials and tribulations, they both have the same values. That'll never change. That'll always be consistent.
That's the constant. Even year after year, that's a constant then. What's next for you?
I don't know. I got to find out what's for dinner.
You're going minute by minute.
Feeling about, might get some Popeyes or something. chicken type of guy.
I understand. And how much are you looking forward to what could happen next with these next games?
You know, you got to go day by day. You just referred to it, and I stay true to that. Being where my feet are and controlling what I can control. You know, you have controllables. I can control my effort. I can control my actions, my focus, all of those things. So just focusing on what's at hand.
And finally on this, Jalen, if I asked you, what would you like to be remembered for? The way you played the game and the impact that you might have had in college football. What do you think it would be? What would you be most proud of hearing?
Let's reflect on it in about a month.
Fair enough.
Be able to answer that.
Two last things. Social media. Are you on it?
Not as often. Not as often. Not as frequent as other people probably.
What do you think are the benefits of it, and what are the dangers of being on social media?
Well, you got to understand that a guy like me, as far as other athletes out there, I'm in college and even in the professionals, this is all a business, and you got to treat it as such. You know, you talk about making emotional decisions, being ethical behind what you do.
Right.
You got to do what's right, and you got to, in reality, you have a lot of people watching, you have a lot of supporters, so you got to use it the right way and use it as an asset.
And the dangers of it?
Yeah, if you don't use it as an asset, if you don't use it the right way, bad things will come.
Have you ever been tempted to answer back to people who take shots on social media?
Nah.
No upside?
Lions don't concern themselves with opinions from sheeps, so.
That's what you live by on that?
I mean, I can't say I live by it, but that's.
But on social media, it's not a bad thing to live by.
Certain things don't bother me.
Do you follow anyone on social media? Athlete, celebrity?
Yeah, I follow a couple people.
Anybody in particular?
Where are we going with this?
I'm just curious, like LeBron James seems to be a guy that people...
Yeah, I don't follow LeBron James.
No. Is there someone that you'd like to mention?
I mean, I've had Dwayne Wade reach out to me, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's a battle-tested guy. He's had a lot of success. He's let a lot of people, especially at the end of his career, say he should hang it up or do whatever, but I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. He's a legend. And for him to reach out to me, I believe he reached out to me after one of my, I guess he saw me working out after one of those games. And even the other day, when I was in New York, he told me that I appreciate you for being a person that my kids can look up to. And ultimately, me being able to set the right example for everybody and anybody who's watching. And just be that type of guy, not because of anything, but that's truly, genuinely from my heart. Because I know there's always that kid watching, and whether they are admiring me or whatever it is, I'm blessed and appreciative of all of it. But ultimately, I do it all for those type of people.
So he could relate to what you stand for?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what, did he like DM you or so when you first saw it, what was your reaction?
Yeah, I'm like, dang, that's Dwayne Wade, you know, growing up watching him play in the Miami Heat. I mean, and I'm not even a basketball fan, but he's a dude, he's a dog. He's a legend.
But he appreciated what you stand for.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a blessing, and the key thing here is that I don't do anything for anybody else, or obviously the supporters and all of that, but I do it because it's the right thing to do. I'm not doing it to get any attention or, you know, somebody to pat me on the back. I don't need all that. I do it because that's what I feel is right.
Yeah, and somebody noticed.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.